Hi, everybody.
Hi. We got our Minnesota sticker put on. Woo!
Woo, indeed. And for me, Minnesota, Sandy and I each have our interests. For me, Minnesota's been interesting in just some of the craziness that goes on here that these people deal with when in the winter. I did laundry and I asked this guy that was there doing some laundry too, at a laundromat, which I had to go about 35-40 minutes one way to a different town to get him through nothing but cornfields. And I asked him, there's these fiberglass rods sticking up alongside fire hydrants, and like the big utility junction boxes are about the size and diameter of a fishing pole, and they're red and white striped. And I asked him what they were, and get this, the guy told me, and I don't know whether he's joshing me or not, but he told me those are so they can find those things in the snow. And they have things alongside the road that says road closed when lights flashing, and there's two lights up them, and he told me, oh yeah, that's a state law, you don't. So wow, these people are hardy folks and very friendly.
Yes. And we have been spending some time in Walnut Grove, and that's pretty awesome because it is Little House on the Prairie territory with Laura Ingalls Wilder. So awesome stuff.
And I learned a lot there too. It wasn't this little part of Minnesota hasn't just been one-sided. She was concerned, and no, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Honest.
Okay.
See you, people.
Bye. Hi, I'm Sandy.
And I'm Ed.
And this is General, our totally awesome water dog.
We used to live on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, but one day we found both of ourselves unemployed.
So we decided to take a chance. We sold everything, bought a trailer, and left to explore America. We're learning as we go along, but we still make mistakes.
But we get a lot of things right too. So come join us as we learn to RV full-time, explore America, and share in our exciting journey of discovery. Our next adventure is just over the hill.
On our travel day between Pepin, Wisconsin and Walnut Grove, Minnesota, we did get to drive right next to the Mississippi River for a little bit, and that was just beautiful. We stopped at the little town of Janesville, Minnesota, because there was a Subway there, and we wanted to get something to eat for lunch, and just happened to see these figurines next to the railroad tracks. This was really awesome, so cool. She's watching us to see what we're gonna do. Just a baby. Whoops. There's Mama. We had breakfast at Miss Nellie's Little Cafe on the Prairie. What an awesome place. The lady that was our waitress, she told us that the character who played Nellie on the TV series does come to visit them on a regular basis, like when they have the reunions every few years. Good food, really good food, awesome folks there, highly recommended. After breakfast, we went immediately to the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum in Walnut Grove. Pretty awesome place. Huge property, a lot of information, a lot of exhibits. The first part of the first building that we went to was a timeline of the families, both Laura's mom's family and Laura's dad's family. So we went through those timelines and then ended up with Laura and Almanzo's timelines, and did little scenes of the books that corresponded with that time period. Pretty awesome displays. In the next area of the museum, there was a bunch of memorabilia from the Little House on the Prairie TV series. Tons of pictures, books, magazines, articles, just a ton of information. The next building on the property was this tiny little church, but it was so cute. Just miniature size, really, about maybe a third the size of what a real church would be. But the lady at the front desk when we were coming in said that they do actually still do weddings in this church. So that's pretty awesome. The next building that we went into was called Grandma's House, and this was basically set up as a house would have been set up in the late 1800s or early 1900s with all the furnishings and everything in it. This had displays of some of Laura's letters when she was working to get her books published, and also it has some of the artwork that Garth Williams did for her series of books. And there's also an exhibit on Rose Wilder Lane and some of the articles and things that she wrote during her time. They also have a very good example of a sod house on the property. This was pretty cool. The last building at the museum has this awesome covered wagon and display of what you might have seen in a covered wagon back in Laura's time. And they also have samples of buildings that would have been in the town of Walnut Grove at the time that she lived there. So like what the equipment a farm would have had, the post office, the newspaper, the general store, just awesome displays. They did a lot of good work on these displays. We also spent some time walking around Plum Creek Park, which is where the actual Plum Creek runs through. That is the title of one of her books, On the Banks of Plum Creek. So that was a really awesome park. Beautiful, beautiful. And Ed got some awesome pictures there. So it's been heavenly. I mean, this is nature at its best. It's so quiet and so undisturbed, so natural. This has been a really awesome place. So we're in Walnut Grove, Minnesota for the next couple of days. Wanted to come here to see the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum. Just wanted to show you a little bit of Walnut Grove. Very, very, very small town. There are no stoplights. There are no crosswalks. This is Main Street. The Plum Creek Park Campground, where we're staying at, is kind of almost surrounded by cornfields, but it's awesome because we were actually watching the farmer kind of tending to his fields, and it's very educational the way they get their acreage ready to plant. There's also Lake Laura on this property, aptly named, and there's a walking trail around Lake Laura. It's a pretty long walking trail. Ed took General one day, and then I took General around it the next day. But pretty awesome trail. You get to see the lake. The views are awesome. And the cornfields and everything. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, dinner and a walk and life is good. For a second there, Dog EXE stopped working. Uh-oh, froze up.